Back in September of last year, 2023, I finished my degree at university, which for those of you who are interested, was in ancient history and archaeology. I decided when I came back, I wanted to go full whack at music because it's what I've wanted to do full time for years. Now, the important thing to know here is that I didn't decide to go full time because I was earning enough for it to be a full-time income. It's actually in fact the opposite. I was and am in the position to be able to try and make it a full-time income despite it not being that yet. So I'm trying to make it sustainable by spending full-time hours on it. So I've been doing this for a year, and the thing that you need to know is that it still isn't sustainable right now, which might be surprising to some of you, I don't know, but I want to be honest with you and try and give you a real scenario which I'm in, from someone who's trying to make producing their full-time income. The biggest lesson I've learned is that building a self-employed income from music up from the ground takes time, a lot of time. It takes days, weeks, months of hard work with seeing very little in return. When I started this full-time back in September 2023, if you asked me where I would expect to be at the point where we're at now in December 2024, I likely would have said somewhere a lot further along than what I am. But I think quite quickly into doing it full time, I realized that my expectations were just way too high. It's inspiring to see and hear stories of 20-year-olds or even younger who have a tight beat channel that blows up and they can just live off the money that they make from that, continue to grow and have an easy, sustainable income from music. Those stories are inspiring, but to a certain extent, they're not very helpful because they deceive you into believing that that's the norm. I also thought that there would be an inevitable direct correlation between the amount of time I spent on music and the income that I saw from it. And although that obviously is the case on a very small scale, that you're much more likely to start making money on music when you spend a lot more time on it, obviously. But as I said, it can take so much work before you start to see the income increase. That line can be pretty flat before it starts to increase and you can start to see that positive correlation. But it's not all doom and gloom. I don't mean this to be a discouraging video. I just think it might be helpful for you guys wishing and wanting to make music your full-time income, to hear of a real situation and one that isn't from someone who's already there, hopefully on the way there, but that's yet to be seen. The process of doing this has already taught me a lot of things. A lot about discipline and routine and how important it is in a job like this. Also how easy it is to slip out of it and start to get sloppy and off the ball. A big thing I've learned you have to do as a producer in this industry is to be constantly analysing and reanalyzing what you're doing, to strategize, to plan, to create a plan for how you want it to work, the revenue streams you're going to target, and what you're going to do to make those revenue streams start up and be sustainable. So even just through trying to make music your full-time income, trying to become a full-time producer, that process teaches you so many skills, both music and production specific skills. Like, you're pretty much guaranteed to get better at producing music when you spend a lot more time on it. The quality of my production has significantly improved from when I started, when I went full time. But the process also teaches you a lot of things about lifestyle and life itself. Balancing workload, relationships, gaining an appreciation for things, being ambitious, avoiding laziness. All these things are learned through the process of becoming a sustainable professional producer. Even if it doesn't work out and you decide it's time to wrap it up for the time being and find a job elsewhere, now hopefully that doesn't happen, but if it did, you've still learned so many valuable skills and lessons about yourself. You do have to sort of treat it like a business, which I know for some people is a bit of a problem or not necessarily something they want to do because it changes the relationship you have with music. The way that I look at it is that you have to work pretty rigidly and get into the business side and all of that stuff now, and then earn the luxury of being able to go back to what your relationship with music was like when you started, where you can sort of have more freedom with it, make what you want to make, focus more on what you're making rather than getting it in front of people and marketing and all that sort of stuff. But that doesn't just happen. That takes years of growth and building a brand and building a name. And I think hearing that, if that doesn't appeal to you, that's okay. There are other ways you can work in the music industry. But as a freelance producer, that's the reality. There's a lot of business in it. It may be that you don't want your relationship with music to change and you don't enjoy the business side. You don't enjoy the social media side and all that sort of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with having music as a passion and something that brings joy and interest to your life. So why don't we help each other out? Let's build a community together. Let's try and grow together and become full-time producers with sustainable incomes together. Get in the producer Discord, first link in the description, and get active. There's going to be placement opportunities I'm going to put in there for you to get involved with, so maybe we could even get a placement together. I hope this was a helpful, realistic video for you. Please don't go away feeling discouraged. I'm more motivated than ever to make this work, and I hope you are too. All the struggle and work that has to be put in now will just make everything so much more rewarding when we get there.